Welcome from Tylo orbit. We start this episode here, and we'll finish it here as well. But before that, we'll visit 3 of Jool's moons, build new outposts, repair the old ones, and prepare a new unit to replace our abandoned asteroid. And in the end, I'll show you the path to colonizing Tylo. Let's begin. I almost forgot how difficult Tylo is to land on, simply because it has no atmosphere, so we're switching to plan B. First, we'll head to Lathe and build another mining outpost. We'll also test how well the heat shield performs. Then we'll drop the virus onto the surface together with the shield, because without it, the virus probably wouldn't survive entry into the atmosphere of that blue moon. And as you'll see, it wasn't exactly easy. The heat shield works well, but the balance of this interplanetary abomination is terrible. Luckily, it survived several atmospheric braking passes. In the final phase, I had to use the engines to stabilize the orbit. Now that this part is done, let's look for an ore source on this water world. I found an island with a pretty decent amount of ore, so we'll try to set up a base there, or at least somewhere nearby. Now we need to attach the heat shield to the virus and head straight toward the atmosphere. I brought 2 Kerbals on board, 1 male and 1 female, and that actually matters, because I've created what I think is a very interesting mod for Kerbals. No extra parts, no micromanagement, and you can expand your colony through, yes, reproduction. This Kerbal pair will stay on Lathe to grow the local colony. The first 3 landings ended in a successful failure, but the 4th one finally worked, so it's time to expand the base. Since I created the Breed the Kerbal mod for Kerbal reproduction, we'll need a laboratory and a 4 Kerbal habitat. If you're interested in this mod, you can find it on space.info, and under my name you'll also see my other mods like Kerb Vision IR, which you've already seen in my video as that green tint. You might also like the notepad mod I made, the one responsible for all those callouts you can hear, but enough self-promotion. Let's get back to the video. Now I'm adding the mining unit, equipped with a large number of radiators. I'm happy with this base so far, but it still needs proper habitats for the future crew. So let's quickly jump to the SPH and build a habitat. 3 additional domes will give the young Kerbals more opportunities to learn from the stars and provide a solid boost to their development. Communication with Kerbin also speeds up their growth. E-learning is pretty popular these days, and being on the surface helps as well. An engineer raising a young Kerbal also accelerates their development. With the base now complete, let's add a bit more duct tape, and we can move back to orbit. We'll repack the crew and head to PAL using only the lander. The rest of the ship stays here for now. Why PAL, you may ask? Because it has extremely low gravity, which makes it easy to launch a large vehicle into orbit. And I'm planning for it to be very large. Meanwhile, I'll be working on building OG Ship 1. Meanwhile, I was also debugging my mods. We've reached PAL and now it's time to land, bring the whole crew inside the base and start the mining operations. I'm also adding a habitat for the crew, and after that we'll begin building and refueling a Ship 1. In the meantime, our new Kerbals have hatched. I originally planned to leave a pair of them on PAL to expand the base. But honestly, I felt bad about leaving them on such a cold, tiny moon so far away from Jool. So I decided to take the entire crew with me on the journey. After building it, refueling it, and reaching orbit, OG Ship 1 now looks like this. At the front we have the heat shield, of course. Then a lot of fuel. Tylo is demanding. Next, I mounted two viruses filled with rocket parts ready for infection. Behind them are two small auxiliary landers, a small artificial gravity ring, and the habitats. And at the very end, we have the propulsion unit with a large supply of rocket parts and an instant processing refinery. Everything fits together beautifully, and we're finally ready to plant a flag on Tylo. During the flight, I took a look at the remains of the base on BOP and noticed that most of it actually survived, and more importantly, there were still some rocket parts left. So I figured it was worth stopping by and repairing the things we had to break thanks to the Kraken. The leftover rocket parts were just enough to rebuild a set of emergency radiators, which then allowed us to fully restore the base on BOP. So, side quest, BOP. After landing, we quickly repaired the base and restored its operational capabilities. Once the small radiators were rebuilt and the drills cooled down, we could finally start expanding the colony. Since I still had a ton of rocket parts inside the virus, I decided to fly it over and dock it to the base to speed up construction. My original plan was to use the rocket parts stored on OG Ship 1 to build the Tylo lander directly in orbit. But since we're already here on Bob, I decided to take the opportunity and build it on the surface instead, and then dock it to OG Ship 1. With a full tank, a stash of rocket parts and a positive attitude, we're heading up to dock with the ship in orbit. Side quest completed. Now it's time for the hardest part, landing on Tylo. While braking near Tylo without the help of an atmosphere, I burned through almost all of my fuel, so the landing is very much in question. But I'm determined because this is our last chance. If I can't build a base down there, OG Ship 1 won't be an interplanetary vessel anymore. It'll be stuck as an orbital station, unable to travel or move at all. We've got so little fuel left that I couldn't fully refuel the lander. It is what it is and we'll deal with it. Not on the first try, but maybe on the 5th. The Delta V map doesn't lie, right? It took me 23 landing attempts. It was absolute madness, almost 2 full Earth hours of non-stop trying. This was extremely difficult, but in the end I finally made it to the surface. Now we move on to expanding yet another base and building a tanker, so we can refuel the main ship in orbit, finish planting flags across the entire Jool system, and finally set course for the next planets. Landing on Tylo is extremely difficult because of its high gravity and the complete lack of atmosphere. But that same lack of atmosphere actually makes launching a ship into orbit much easier. Once you reach about 10 kilometers above the surface, you're already moving freely without worrying about air resistance. Now we dock with OG Ship 1 and start refueling. I'll need to make a few more runs like this, and then we'll finally be ready to continue the journey. We built new habitats, expanded multiple bases, repaired the ruins on Bob, constructed a brand new lander, survived 23 brutal Tylo landing attempts, and refueled OG Ship 1 for the next stage of the mission. The Jool system isn't finished yet. We still have 2 moons left to conquer before we can move on to the next planets. And the road ahead is finally opening. If you made it all the way to the end, drop a like and tell me in the comments what caught your attention the most, and let me know if my mods fit your style of playing. And of course, thanks for watching.